We all want shiny new things. Cars, watches, jewellery, fancy clothing, all the bells and whistles. And even my dad, for as long as I can remember, has joked that the person with the most toys at the end wins. But the best way to get those toys at the end is to learn how to resist them at the start, and it all comes down to saving. Gary Vee on TikTok just the other day was talking about how for about 12 years he ate shit. We know what Gary's like. He ate shit for 12 years by saving all his money, not spending anything, not going on vacation, not buying fancy things, and it allowed him to make moves in the future that led to making millions. He said, I only had thousands at the start, and those thousands turned into millions because I saved all along the journey and utilized it when an opportunity presented itself. And one thing I've learned in my 30 years on this here planet is that consumerism is a massive part of our culture. So today I'm going to show you my favorite 6 savings tips and tricks. Yes, I said 6. I know the title says 5, but I'm feeling generous. And it all starts with my first tip for this video, which is to set targets and be really competitive about them. And this is something that I've never seen or heard anybody talking about. And I personally believe it is the number one best way to save money, and it should be the starting point for everybody. So hear me out. This is how my brain works. I compete with myself to save as much money as possible, and I do that by making money saving as fun as anything out there. It's like a game for me, like a challenge, and I always am striving to reach my next goal. When will I hit the next $5,000 barrier, the next $10,000 barrier? And I rinse and repeat that process forever. And that pushes me to save as much of my money as possible. Not in an aggressive way. It's not something that stresses me out and I put pressure on myself, but it's just something that I'm always trying to do better. A perfect example of this is something that I used to do with my brother. And believe it or not, this big buffoon over here, this ginger ninja, that is actually my brother. I know that might be hard to believe, but dems be the facts. So what Brands and I used to do is we would compete to save more money than the other brother. And even though he's about a foot taller than me, I'm actually 2 years older. So my account was always higher than his. I always had more savings. So his goal was to close the distance, and my goal was to increase the distance between our accounts. And that constant battle between him trying to catch up and me trying to pull away, that was what motivated us to save more money because, you know, bragging rights. And the reality is that that healthy competition, which was never too serious and always in good fun, led us to striving to save more than we otherwise would have been. Unless you have a really good relationship with your sibling and can do this without straining that relationship, it's a great idea, but you don't need a sibling to do that. You just need to create an environment in your own atmosphere, in your own mind, that will encourage you to save more than you already have. And I just want to take a moment to say, don't stop spending money on your hobbies and the things that make you happy, because that's what life is all about. This video and this idea of saving money is more just about doing better than we are doing right now. All right, number 2, don't be loyal to your bank. Just chase the best interest rates. And this is something that I wish I learned so many years earlier, and I'm so glad I get to tell you this right now. Check this out, just to give you an idea of how much of a difference this can make. I'll bring my brother back into the conversation because I can actually thank him for teaching me this one, because about 5 years ago when I was ready to buy a house, he asked me a very important question. He came up to me and he said, Dan, what interest rates are you getting on your savings account? And I just sort of looked at him and I thought, I've never bothered to look. I've had no reason to check, whatever it is. So I went online, I had a look, and it was 0.6%, 0.6. And I went to Brands and I said, 0.6, what do you make? And he goes, wow, I make 3.5%. And when he told me that, I almost fell over. I couldn't believe it because I'd been saving forever, literally my whole life, to put a deposit down on a house. And I had about $200,000 saved at that time. And to give you an idea of the kind of differences in money that makes, check this one out. 0.6% of $200,000 is $1,200, but 3.5% on $200,000 is $7,000. So without even realizing it, without even thinking, which is what most people do, I was giving away $6,000 or almost $6,000 to the bank every year just because I haven't bothered to check before. So what did I do? I got straight on the phone to the bank, the new bank that Brandon was using, and I said, hey, I want to set up a new account. And they said, no problem, set me up. And within 10 minutes, I had a new account. I had transferred all my money across and I was now earning 3.5% rather than 0.6%. And it was truly that simple. It's about a 5 or 10 minute process to get the entire thing done. And I strongly, strongly recommend that you do that. And I would do that as soon as you finish this video. And don't worry, I am well aware that not everybody has $200,000 sitting in their account, and many people have $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it might be. Every dollar counts. And considering that those bank accounts compound, they offer compounding interest, the money grows on itself. So it's in your best interest to make the most interest that you possibly can at any amount of money that you have saved. It will save you way more than you realize, just like it saved me way more than I knew. All right, number 3, and this one is crucial. Please make sure you leave a like on this video if it is helping you so far. The more likes this video gets, the more people YouTube shows it to, the more people get this help. Plus, it puts an enormous smile on this here face. All right, the real number 3, and this one is not going to be as popular, but it is just as important. And the question I have to ask you is, how many streaming services do you really need versus how many streaming services do you actually have? Almost everyone I know has Netflix and Spotify, and so you should. They're amazing. I have both of them. They serve an incredible purpose, endless entertainment, podcasts, music, TV, movies, all that good stuff. But my question is, so many people have Netflix, Stan, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, KO, Hulu, whatever they are. But if you have multiple or all of those, have you ever sat down to actually add up how much that's costing you month by month? Because it's probably a lot more than you realize. For me, I spend $16 on Netflix and $5 on Spotify. And that's my total entertainment costs for the month. So to give you an idea, Netflix is about $200 a year, Spotify $120, Amazon about $80, and Disney Plus about $90. And there's many, many more. But let's just say we had Netflix and Spotify. That would cost around $320 a year. This is Australian prices, by the way. All these prices are Australian prices, but you can do the maths in your own country. $320 a year, but if you had all 4 of those services, that's $500 a year. And if you have more than that, Hulu, KO, all these other ones, you're looking at $600, $700, $800 a year. And I know they all have different shows that they show on them and different movies, their selection is different, but what I would say to you is, if there's a show or two that you want to watch or a movie or two that's not on the one that you have, just download it. And if you don't know how to do that, then spend 10 minutes. It doesn't take long to learn how to do that. And then any show you have total access to. All right, I'm going to get off this topic because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. I know people don't want to part with their streaming services, and I totally get it. All right, don't hate me, please. We're moving on to the next one. All right, tip number 4, and this could honestly have been tip number 1 because for me, it's one of the most important and one of the most simple things that you can do to keep track of your saving and spendings and also make sure that you're not dipping into your savings too much. So tip number 4 is to set up 2 bank accounts with the same bank. One is for your savings and one is for your spendings. Basically, the idea is that you're going to set up your savings account to have all of your savings, obviously, but you're also going to put all of your pay, all the money coming in, everything you receive, that's going to go into your savings account. And you're going to try to never touch it. And then your spendings account, you're going to keep enough money in there to live paycheck to paycheck comfortably, but not with a lot of excess. So if you can live off $500 a month, you want to leave maybe $650 in there, $700 in there, enough that you can buy a couple bits and bobs, things that you need. You want to just have enough to live paycheck to paycheck comfortably. Now, the reason this works is because it forces you to not want to dip into your savings. You want to live within that realm, within whatever you are spending, and you want to get that number as small as you possibly can. That way, your savings account is going to grow as large as you can. And if you can get into the mindset of leaving as much as possible in the savings account, going back to tip number 1, make it a game, make it competitive. How much can I keep? How little can I live off? That's going to help you save way more than you realize. And if you do want to buy a new phone, for example, and it costs $1,000, on that particular occasion, you're going to transfer $1,000, just the amount that you need, into that spending account so that you can buy that phone. Don't transfer any extra. And then once you buy it, you are right back to your normal spending versus saving amount for that paycheck. All right, tip number 5, and don't forget, I've got an extra bonus tip, tip number 6, so sit tight for that one. But tip number 5 is to change your bills. Just chase and find the best deals for you on everything. What most people don't realize is that most things in life are negotiable, and your bills are no exception. Every single one of them can be cheaper. It's just a matter of actually ringing up and asking the company for a better deal. You can ring your gym membership and tell them that it's becoming too expensive for you and that you want to change your deal. You can ring your phone provider, your internet provider, your gas and electricity bills if you own a home. All of those things. What tends to happen is the longer you are with a company, the more loyal you are, the more they charge you. So it's on you to ring up and say, hey, I've done a little bit of homework and this company is going to offer me $100 less a year. No matter how small or how big of a client or a customer you are to them, you matter to them and they will fight to keep you almost every time. It's just a matter of making that call. You're welcome. Trust me. You're welcome. All right, bonus tip number 6. This is to stop spending money in excess. And by excess, I mean things that you don't really need. Like I said earlier, never stop spending money on the things that truly make you happy, your hobbies, the things that get you through the day, but don't buy things just to buy them. You probably don't need that fancy new watch. You probably don't need that shiny new laptop. Do you really need that new phone? When you go out to a club or you go out partying, do you need to buy 4 drinks while you're there? Or can you spend less money and do the drinking at home, at pre-drinks or pre-game, I think you call it in America? Do you need to drink and buy 2 or 3 coffees every day? Or can you make them at home? Or can you make them at work? So what I would suggest is to put off those spendings if you don't need them, because what will happen is it will diminish your savings account. Each time you do it, you're chipping away. But instead, if you don't buy it, it grows the same amount because of that exponential compounding growth. And then instead of spoiling yourself all the time, spoil yourself once in a while. When you reach a goal, shout yourself, go out for a movie, go out for a nice dinner. Whenever you reach a certain goal, you got a promotion at work, celebrate the things in life. Just don't do it all the time in excess. All right, ladies and gents, thank you so much. I really, really hope this helped. If it did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm always going to be here helping you guys do better with your personal finances. That is my goal, to make you more money and help you save more money. So if you appreciate it, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'm Dan and you've been Dansplained. See ya!